Hello everyone and welcome to the show. This is Andy Shed Live Series 11, episode number 11 for Sunday the 27th of November 2022. Hello everybody and welcome aboard this Sunday evening. Winter is a-coming. It really does feel like it at the moment as well. It's quite chilly here today, but yeah, well, we'll all survive. Just keep moving about and jumping up and down and stuff and keep warm somehow, I think. It is Sunday evening. We are back again, 6:30. Another Andy Shed Live, as we do every week. If you're new to the channel, hello, welcome. If you're not new to it, well, you know the score by now. I don't need to tell you much more about it, do I? All I will say is I will do the general bit of housekeeping and say that if you want to contact us here on the show, and if you're not watching live, if you want to send us a message or something, the initial way to get in touch with us is through the contact us form on the website, which you'll find here at andyshed.coalpress.net. andyshed.coalpress.net, and click on the contact us thing. Right, okay, we will get on with it today. Let's see who's in the house, shall we? We've got Christopher here, we've got Penfold here, we've got Wesley here, Dominic's here, Maget's here. Afternoon everybody, hope you're all well. Penfold says, anyone got a Black Friday bargain? You know something, Penfold, I didn't even know it was Black Friday until about halfway through it. That's how switched on to the Christmas marketing and stuff I am. Yeah, I had no idea it was Black Friday at all. No, what is it? Is it Cyber Monday tomorrow? Is it what they call it? I don't know. They've invented all these things in recent years. They just didn't exist about 10 or 20 years ago, did they? It's just nonsense they've invented. So it doesn't look like anybody's got any bargains. Just going through, yeah. Hello everybody. Christopher's got a Diacon phone apparently. Wesley says no purchases by me on Black Friday. Oh, I think did I purchase anything on Black Friday? I'm thinking about it. Did I purchase anything on Black Friday? I think I may have done. Yes, I may have bought something on eBay on Black Friday, which hopefully might be here by next week. It might not be here by next week because it seems to have got a bit of a long delivery time, but it is telephone related and quite interesting. In fact, I made two purchases about 20 minutes apart, and there's a story behind it, but I'm going to save it until they arrive, these things, because it's an interesting story and it's something that'll make you scratch your heads a bit, I'm fairly sure. So something a bit interesting coming up either next week or the week after, probably. Wesley says the winter is certainly here. I've had the fire roaring here for an hour or two. Crikey. Can you afford the coal to put on it, Wesley? Or the wood, or whatever it is? I went and had a look. I went to Aldi, at least I think it was Aldi. I can't tell the difference between Aldi and Lidl. You know, if I go in one of those shops, I never know if it's an Aldi or if it's a Lidl. Whoever did the marketing for the design of those shops was rubbish, because I never know which one I've been in. I can have been and shopped in one, and people say, did you go to Aldi? And I go, I'm not sure. I think I did, but maybe it was Lidl. I don't know. But anyway, I went to one of those, and I'm fairly sure the one I went to was an Aldi. To look at a bag of coal to go on. I've got one of these multi-fuel wood burner stroke coal burning stove things here. Went to look at a bag of coal. £8 for a little bag of coal. And I think it was about £4 last winter, so it's basically doubled. Now, I know inflation's running at 10 or 11%, but it's not running at 100%, which is the price increase on that bag of coal from last year. So come on, Aldi, get your finger out. Right, what's everybody saying in the chat? Dominic says my Sony PS4 300 arrived with the mechanism broken and the tone arm lifter jammed in the up position. Managed to fix it, save for the damping, as it throws the stylus down very violently at the moment. Now then, Dominic, is this the oil damped thing that you were talking to me about the other day? Is this the thing what you've got to put oil in to damp it? I shall be very interested to see this. It's a record deck, isn't it? Very interested to see this one. I don't think I've ever seen one like it before. Wesley says, don't worry about the wood. He says, I've got plenty of wood to go at for now. That's good. Christopher says, the Pi Telephone Company of Melbourne is different to UK Pi Telephone Company, he found out. Is it? Because Christopher's got a phone made by Ericsson but supplied by Pi, and I thought, why would you do that? Why would Pi supply an Ericsson phone when Pi made phones themselves? But Christopher's obviously done a bit of research, and he says that the Pi company in Melbourne in Australia is different to the Pi Telephone Company in the UK. Must be part of the same group though to have the same name, PYE. What's the chances of there being two of those that are totally independent and in a similar sort of business on different sides of the world? Must be related to those two companies. Penfold says about Dominic's record deck, you better ask Techmoan or Big Clive how to fix it. Don't know if Big Clive fixes record decks, does he? Don't know if Big Clive fixes much of anything actually. He takes it apart, but I'm not sure he ever puts it back together again. Techmoan might be a man. Techmoan's good at changing belts. When it goes beyond changing belts, Techmoan goes a bit out of his depth. There's our Matt. Yeah, by the way, Techmoan, check your email. I've emailed him a couple of times, never get a response from him. So, Techmoan, check your email. Right, okay. So it's all happening. If you're not in the chat already, this is a copy of the chat going up here. But if you're watching live, join in the YouTube chat, and you will magically also appear on the side of the screen here. My phone is beeping at me. My Unihertz Titan that everybody gets all excited about, and they say it. Oh, what's that? That you say. It's beeping at me. Why is it beeping at me? It's just telling me the things I've not won on eBay. That's what it's doing. Right, last week we were talking about fountain pens, weren't we? Can you remember? I was talking about this fountain pen last week, and I can't get over how expensive these things are, these fountain pens. This is a genuine vintage one dating from the 1950s that I went to Sheffield to see a chap that restores fountain pens in Sheffield Saturday of last week, and he showed me how to restore pens, and this is one of the pens that we restored that day, and I can't get over what they're worth. I just can't get over the fact that an old pen like this from like the 1950s that you'd find in the back of a drawer somewhere is worth about 60 or 70 quid. I can't get over it. I really can't get over it. If you'd have asked me, I'd have said I thought it was probably worth about a fiver or a tenner, maybe, something like that. But they go for staggering amounts of money, fountain pens. Far more than telephones, far more. And all the other is a bit of plastic with a bit of rubber inside them when you're all said and done. But yeah, so yeah, I can now restore fountain pens. If anybody's got a fountain pen that needs restoring, get in touch. Right, okie dokie, what has arrived recently? Well, there are various telephones and things that have come over the last few weeks. One that's arrived recently, because these turn up cheaply and I can't resist buying them when they do turn up, because they do turn up so cheap. And I'm talking that they turn up for like a fiver and a tenner and things like that. It's another one of these. It's another one of these book sets. These are brilliant. I really like these because they're rubber and they've got the tiniest dial, and you've got no chance of getting your finger in the hole of this dial. But they do turn up from time to time in various states of disrepair, but this one's quite nice. The rubber is in quite good condition on this one. Not quite heavy, but they are a linesman's book set. The little button on the side there is the hook switch, basically. So you want to make a call, you have to press that in, and you can twist it to hold it in to grab the line, and twist it back and it comes out again. But that is what this is. And they had various collections on the other end. This one's just got a couple of little fork connectors on the end, but you sometimes find them with crocodile clips on, or with fancy connectors for plugging into telephone exchange equipment and that. But yeah, this came the other day, so yeah, pretty darn good. I quite like those. So that's one thing that's turned up. I think I've got probably got about 4 or 5 of these now. And also on a similar sort of theme to that, this rocked up as well, which again is a sort of linesman's test phone, or the military use these as well. I shall put it on the desk so you can see it a bit better. But alright, change the camera. There you go. How do you open it? This one, like that. So you open it like that. It's in this sort of pressed composite case. I don't know what this stuff is actually that these are made out of, but we used to get old suitcases made out of the same sort of thing, and you open it up like that, and something weird's gone on with this, because it's got an old-fashioned Bakelite handset, as you can see, but it's got a relatively modern Dial 21 fitted to it. So I think that dial is probably a retrofit. This would probably have had a Dial 12 in it originally. But yeah, it is basically a linesman's phone. It's got a well, it's not quite a standard handset. This is a GEC handset, and it's got one of these press to talk devices on it. As you can see, a bit of the end of the handset is missing. But is this the correct handset for it? Not sure. It may be, I don't know. But yeah, so that has rocked up. The way these work is they have a battery inside them that provides the line power. Put that up there a minute. But to get the ring, do the high voltage ringing, or the higher voltage ringing, there is a little hole here that you put a little windy handle in, and the little windy handle should be stored in the top of the case there, but it is missing its little windy handle. So we are missing the handle for this. But it's dawned on me earlier today that I've never taken one of these apart. So let's have a little look. I think the top, does it just lift out? Oh, it hinges. Right, oh, there we go. There we go. It's on a little hinge. Look, you can see that hingy thing in there. So you can, oh, that's clever, isn't it? And inside the bottom there is even a wiring diagram. If you can see that in there. But this is your little generator for your ringing, and this, I'm guessing, is a strap that is supposed to hold the battery in. Now, there's a little. Oh, that'll come out, right. So, it's a telephone 250A, and it was about sampled FWR 79-1. So this went back to the factory in 1979 and got looked at in the factory in 1979. There is your thing. If I just think the lights in here are not particularly brilliant for being able to see what's on these. Can you see that? If anybody's mega interested in the wiring diagram, it's not the most tricky wiring diagram in the world ever, is it? But yeah, so that's how it looks. So yeah, it does have a battery. I'm just looking where the battery is. Oh yeah, it's there, I think. So yeah, it should have a battery in it, which I am guessing, I'll put that back in the bottom of there so it doesn't get lost. The battery, I'm guessing, would connect to these two fork connectors. Yeah. And then you would be able to use it as like a field phone or whatever. Again, I have got a couple of these already, and I have used them. I have wired them up in the past and used them, but again, this one was cheap, and I just thought it was an exciting thing to have hold of. If I show you all the gubbins on there, that's quite interesting. This is just a sort of indentation in the plastic on the other side for the handset to sit in, but they've used the back of it for all the terminal strip sort of thing. You've got a bog standard dial in the middle of there, one very late looking dial with all the plastic bits on. What have we got here? That's a buzzer. That's a buzzer, a little buzzer. To make it work, this will be your induction coil, big capacitor here, all your spring contacts there, which move when you press that, you see. That's what that is. But Tele 250, quite a nice thing. Yeah, we'll have to do something about the handset. I could, I guess, fit a 700 series handset to it, or I could keep this handset that's currently on it and use it. Oh, that should be attached to that plate there, if we were doing it properly. Right, why does that not go back in there now then? That's it. That's better, I think. So yeah, Tele 250. I quite like it. I quite like those. Oh cracky, the chat shot up since I last looked at it. Right, let's see what folks are saying. Oh, Gambo's arrived. He says, hi peeps. Made it this week. He says he was away picking up a TV, a Panasonic 55-inch smart TV for free. Has it got the red blinks of death on it? So a PSU problem. Sounds like you've probably got to change some capacitors in the power supply there, Gambo. Dominic says it was a real pain taking the tone arm out of his record player. There's very thin wires soldered to the circuit board that have to be removed. Yeah, the wires in a tone arm they're like human hair, aren't they? Yeah, not good if you got to mess with them. They're not. And Christopher says, I've never seen a dial blank with a Pi logo in it. They do exist, Christopher. Not sure that one that you've got there is a genuine one though, because I've seen that photo that you sent me of it, and I'm not sure that's a genuine Pi logo dial blank. I don't know. It just doesn't. Something just doesn't look quite right on that to me. But I could be wrong. I could be wrong. Penfold said the Mont Blanc pens are very expensive. They're all very expensive, Penfold. I can't believe it. You can buy a brand new fountain pen for like £1,500 for a pen, a brand new one. Now, how can they justify £1,500 for a pen? Bear in mind, it's a pen. It's a little thing you put in your pocket and have a good chance of losing. How can you justify spending £1,500 on one? I really can't see it. Again, so I must put my pens on YouTube. Your ones look like Conway Stewart. Also see my comment on the mother-in-law phone. Oh yeah, because I left a comment on your video about the mother-in-law receivers, didn't I? Yeah, you're quite right. It is a Conway Stewart, this one. This one. Yeah, that is a Conway Stewart, that one. This one is not. This is a Parker. This one. Get it under this other camera so you can see. Yeah, that one's a Parker. We did that one up and it looked quite grotty even when we'd done it up because we didn't polish the case. But I've polished the case with Brasso since I've got it back here last week, and it's come up really nicely. But it doesn't write quite as well as the Conway Stewart. This one is a little bit scratchy on the nib. A little bit. I mean, it's still alright, but it's a little bit scratchy. But this Conway Stewart one writes beautifully. And I really like this green effect on it. I do like that a lot. It reminds me of the seat maquette on Blackpool trams, on the heritage trams in Blackpool. It reminds me a lot of it. So yeah, that is the pens. Right, what were we doing? I was going through this chat thing, wasn't I? Penfold says that book set looks nothing like his book phone, a Tempo Alert 340. Yeah, yours is probably a more modern one now, Penfold, than that, I think. And it says the ones in the Royal Signals we used didn't have a dial and were point to point, powered by D-cell batteries. Were they 250s though, Penfold, like this one? They may have been. Because you do get some of these without the dial on. I have seen them without the dial. Like you say, they're point to point. But I don't know how they do it. Do they put a dial blank in of some sort? Don't know. Can't remember just off the top of my head, but I have seen them. And of course, you connect your two lines to these two terminals up here. Right. Dominic says the people who designed the 700 series cases must have been out of the office when the field phone cases were designed. It's too easy to fit it all together. Very true, Dominic. Yes, yeah. This actually, this thing actually fits together. This one, as you just saw. I think you should have to take that screw out there, because that little screw has got a. When I just lifted it out, it screws into a little plate underneath that came out with it, and the plate. If you see this plate on the outside here, with, I don't know if you can see that, with two rivets in it, I think the plate that came out with the top bit should be riveted also to the back of that plate there. So I think that should lock it all together, and you should have to take that screw out to lift the top up like I did. But because it's not quite as it should be, it came out without me doing that. But yeah, it was easy, wasn't it? Wesley says his phones were still referred to as tappers, which was long after the days of the GPO. Penfold says the military version had a wire stripper incorporated on the field phone. Right, that's so you could strip the wire at a given point and tap into it. Right, cool. And Christopher says that is the Pi dial label is made of Diacon, 'cause it's got a 12 on the back. I'll try and find that photo that Christopher sent me in a minute. But I will, for now, I will put this back together. As always, what is it about Bakelite handsets that they've always got a bit missing? Somebody's always unscrewed a bit off the end of a Bakelite handset. Every single time you get a hold of one. This one is a GEC one. Press while speaking. Hello? Hello? No. No idea. I guess it's just so that the conversation only comes out at the other end when you want it to. Quite an interesting cap on there. Not your sort of standard cap, but I'm guessing it must be right. So there you have it. That is that, and I think it goes in that way because yeah, let me get this on the camera. That hole is deeper than that hole, so even when that's got a cap on, it's still not going to be as deep as that end, I don't think. So I think it's supposed to go in like that. And then it should close up something like that. And then that just goes over there. Shut that again to cover the hole up, and then you put the whole thing on your shoulder or whatever, and off you go to work with that on. Oh, you would not want that on your shoulder all day, let me tell you. No. I wonder how many of these have had the phones removed out of them and have been used as a sandwich box. Just a thought. Put that back down there, out of the way. God, looking rather red today, aren't I? Something weird going on with the colour balance on the cameras, I think. So yeah, that is the Teller 250 that has arrived. Miguel says those phones were made with that cover rather than the spit cup, which could easily be broken. Yeah, that would make sense, wouldn't it, Miguel? Yeah, that'd make sense. Because those spit cups do get broken. You know, they're nearly always chipped or something. So yeah, that's a good modification actually. That's a good idea. Why did they not fit that to all the Bakelite phones when they refurbished them? It would have been better, shall we say? It would definitely have been better that if you'd add those on. Right. So that is a Tel 250 that has come, and of course also this, which is very, very bouncy rubber. Unbelievably rubberized these. Oh, proper hard wearing things. Yeah. There's something a bit steampunk about these, isn't there? Yeah. Right. So that's what's arrived here this week. Right, we'll try and have a look for you for this thing that Christopher sent in, and you can have a look at this Pi phone that he's got, if I can just find it in my many emails that we've got. It says Thunderbird is starting. Right, let's have a little look. Right, here we are. So if I can get this on the screen. Just bear with me 1 second. Right, so this is what Christopher has got hold of just recently, and it is allegedly a Pi clone of a, well, it's not a Pi clone, it's an Ericsson clone of a 706, we think. Now note the Pi logo in the middle, but look at it, look at where it is. It's kind of not in the centre. And what's it setting? Is it setting like red plasticine or something? I can't quite tell, but that does look awfully like somebody's stuck it in there. Now if you remember, I have got a similar phone to this with the dial blank in the middle, and I had a problem in finding that normal sized dial blanks don't fit it. So I wonder if they've put that in because they found the normal opal, the clear opal that would go in the middle. They found that the normal ones don't fit, and so they've had to put something in the middle. So they've like filled it up with modelling clay and stuck a Pi pin badge or something into the middle of it, but it doesn't look quite right. And underneath on this photo it kind of reveals that it is indeed an Ericsson. I don't know if you can make that out, but it definitely says N1340A38T on that. So it's an N1340A38T, which is one of the many variants that I think Ericsson made. Ericsson are a bit strange because all their part numbers begin with an N, and their telephone model numbers begin with an N as well. So that could be the model of the phone, or it could just be the part number for the base plate, but because of where it's located, I think it's probably the model for the phone. But again, it says Pi, Melbourne, Australia on the bottom of it. But the Pi logo is the same as the Pi logo was here in the UK. So I think it's the same company. It's got to be at least part of the same group, hasn't it? So, but why would Pi be buying in Ericsson phones when Pi make phones themselves, and indeed made 700 series phones themselves, many thousands of them? So why would they be buying them in from Ericsson? I've got absolutely no idea. But there it is. It's quite a nice clean looking phone actually, that. Is the whole thing Diacon, Christopher? The handset looks like it might be Diacon. From that high shine on the handset, it's got that very deep shine to it, that handset, where you kind of look into it rather than look at the reflection on the surface. You know, the reflection kind of looks deep. That handset looks like it might be Diacon. It would also explain why the case isn't discoloured as well, except for the button. Look, the blanking plate on the button, that's gone a bit yellow, so obviously that's not Diacon. But yeah, that looks like the whole thing is Diacon to me. So that would make it probably pre-1963-64. Interesting though that it's got the later feet on it with the recess in them. It's not just got the flat or domed feet, as they call them. because late 50s, early 60s I would have suspected domed feet. So maybe it's had some upgrades and things, but why a Python with an Ericsson base on it? I don't get that at all. If anybody's got any ideas as to what's going on there, please do let us know. But that is Christopher's latest acquisition, shall we say. I really don't know what's going on with that. It seems a little bit on the strange side. Right, I don't think anybody else has sent me anything this week. I'll just have a quick look through. Oh, Gambo sent a few photos in the other week that I don't think I showed you these, so I can probably show you them now. These are his phones. Right, here we go. Very similar to a couple that turned up here the other week, but that one's complete by the looks of it, and rather nice. The Bakelite looks in good condition on that, and of course that has got the spit cup on the handset that gets broken. And there's the inside of it, and there's a bigger view of the inside of it. You see, quite simple on the inside there. The handset showing a date of 1956 on it. Looks like a proper GPO handset, that one. And there's a screw underneath the case that holds the dial on. It's in pretty good condition, that Bakelite. Or have you done something to this Gambo? Has it had a polish or something? See, it's looking pretty good for some Bakelite of that age. The Bakelite is very thick though on that, isn't it? Look how thick the Bakelite is on the top of that case. It's you know, it's substantially made, shall we say. That's interesting because it's got a date of 1960 inside the phone there, between the two bell gongs. And what did I say was on the handset? 56. So I suppose it could have had the handset hanging around, but it's likely. Oh, hang on, is that a different phone? That's a different phone, isn't it? Because the handset is a different colour. I mean, the cable is a different colour. So I think that's two different phones, I reckon. Not sure. Tell us, Gambo, is it two different ones, that? Clicking the wrong button now. Right, where are we? Right, I'll get back to the chat in a minute. Yeah. Dominic says, did you get the photos of the Sony WM2 from me, Andy? No, I don't think I have, Dominic, and they don't seem to be here. Let me just have a quick look, and I will see if they are here. No, doesn't look like it's got here, Dominic. I don't think. I'm just looking. No, try again, because it's not made it through the email system. Of course, it could have got hung up in spam or something, but no, it's not got here. So send it again, Dominic, please. Right, so you've had a little look at these phones, and that including this this very oddball one of Christopher's. This Pi stroke Ericsson, that I really can't figure that out. It's a bit unusual, so yeah, it was a good find, because it's a bit of an oddity for a number of reasons, but definitely looks like there's some Diacom parts involved in that, so well found. Right, okay, we've covered the gamut of things today again, haven't we? Yeah, it's looking quite good, that Diacom phone. I quite like that. Right, what are folks up to? Christopher says, maybe the Pi telephone company in Melbourne wasn't allowed to make telephones in Melbourne like Pi in the UK. Yeah, but why would that be? I don't know. It's strange. It's very strange that. There'll be a reason to it, or there'll be some sort of story behind it. What I'm wondering is if the phone is made of bits and it's just had a Ericsson base plate put on a Pi phone. I'm wondering if it was made out of a couple, 2 or 3 bits of other phones all put together. Wesley says, I did a bit of digging after last week about BT Digital Voice, and it does not support loop disconnect, and the SIP login details are not available. So if you want to use a third-party ATA, you'll have to port your number. So you have to port your number to the third party. Is that what you're saying? Like SIPgate or somebody like that, and use it on an ATA. Yeah. But the point is, the BT Digital Voice, whatever box you have sat on your windowsill, I'm guessing you must plug one wire into it that is your Ethernet, and another wire into it that is your telephone. Don't bother plugging the telephone one in. Just plug an Ethernet wire in that goes to an ATA, and plug your telephone into your ATA, and do it that way. Don't actually use BT's phone service through their box. That's what I shall do if they make me have it. But they'll encounter resistance when they get here, let's say. Chris says, do you see an email of the PMG 802, Andy? Yeah, I think I've got it somewhere, Christopher. Gambo says, those 2 phones that we've just shown were 2 phones that came up for sale and were complete with parts is missing. complete with parts you're missing, but they're complete anyway. So you're still missing some parts then. Is that what we're saying, Gambo? You bought 2 more complete ones, but you've got some with missing parts. Is that right? Have I understood that right? Dominic says, I'll send some photo of the turntable when I get it fully working. Yeah, please do, Dominic. Yeah, let's have a look at it. In fact, send a video. Wesley says, regarding the BT digital voice, that's about the size of it. It says, I fear resistance will be futile though. Resistance is never futile. You can always beat the Borg. Is that how you do it? That's how you do it, isn't it? Christopher says, that phone that we've just shown of his, that Pi stroke Ericsson, he says, it's all Diacon. He says, now I put a Diacon handset on it. When I got it, it had an ABS handset on it. Yeah, because the Diacon one would have broken. As it does. So that Diacon handset is not original to the phone then, Christopher. That's what we're saying, is it? Camo says, yeah, it was showing the bits were both missing on our phones, on those Bakelite wall phones. So are the bits missing? You say it was showing the bits were missing, but are they actually missing, or did it turn up with the bits? Sorry, I'm confusing the thing here, aren't I? Have you got some Bakelite wall phones, Gambo, that need parts? That's the basic question that I'm asking. And if so, what bits is it that you're looking for? Because I think you said before you were looking for the metal ring that goes inside the case of the phone to sort of hold the dial in place, weren't you? There's like a cast metal ring. Wesley says, what's that hand sign? Should it be accompanied by Nanu Nanu? That, if you don't know what that is, where have you been for the last 60 years? Or actually, where have you been for the last 40 years? Because I don't think that appeared until a movie, actually. But no, it's nothing to do with Mork and Mindy. Right. Oh, I've now got something's come through from you, Dominic. Right. Let's have a little look. A Sony Walkman. Right, now, how am I going to open these pictures? Maybe I don't have to. Maybe I can do it like this. Oh yeah, I can do it like this. Right. Dominic is collector of all things Sony, for those who don't know, and right, let's get this in the frame. This is one of his latest acquisitions. This is as far as I know, I'm sure he'll correct me if I'm wrong, this is a genuine Sony Walkman from like ages ago, and quite a high quality thing for a Walkman. I mean, we're used to the very, very tacky plastic things that every company and their dog made in the late 80s, early 90s, but that one actually looks rather good, doesn't it? Um, and still in surprisingly good condition. Stereo Walkman 2. Yeah, pretty good. Can you remember when mobile devices like that had headphone jacks on? Apple. Can you remember Apple? And you actually put headphone jacks on things. But yeah, that's pretty good, that. I think that's probably the rarest thing, that the sort of holster thing for it, because that has not got a strap on it. I know there's a strap there in the picture, but that's got the holsters behind it, and that is the holster for it. And I can't think I've ever seen one of those. But even that, look what a quality item that is. That's not a shoddy piece of plastic, is it? Look, there's a metal bit in it, and yeah, it's pretty good, that. I rather like that. But, excellent thing that is. It is very good. Wesley says, do you need any tapes, Dominic? I unearthed some Howard Jones this afternoon. I saw Howard Jones a few years back. Christopher says, I've just noticed that my Pi phone has got a dial label behind the Pi logo. Right, take the Pi logo off then, Christopher. Let's find out what's on the label. Gambo says, yeah, sorry to clear the thing up about the wall phones. He says, I've got 2 wall phones. One is almost complete. It needs the handset cord button. And the other phone is missing the handset, the dial holder, a dial, and the handset button. So you need 2 handset buttons, a handset itself, the dial holder metal thing, and a dial. If I've understood that right. So if anybody's got those bits for Gambo, get in touch, basically. Gambo says that the photos show a complete phone. That our wall phones should have, once we find the missing parts for them. Right, I see. So both you and I have got missing parts in ours, Gambo, but that was a complete one for reference. I see. Wesley says, I've got loads of tapes but nothing to play them on. Well, you need to get a tape recorder, Wesley. Actually, what you need to get, Wesley, is you need to get one of those brilliant sort of mid-1980s massive boom boxes. Has anybody ever seen the film Roller Boogie? Yeah? Can anybody remember Roller Boogie with Linda Blair? Yes, the girl from The Exorcist. She survived The Exorcist and went on to do a film called Roller Boogie. And if you want to see sort of what we used to carry around to play music on in the 1980s, Roller Boogie is the movie for you. Because it was made at the time. It was made about 1984, 1985, I think. Yeah, and it's quite a good movie, actually. I quite like Roller Boogie. I've not seen it for years and years and years. I may have got have I got a tape with Roller Boogie on? Have I got a VHS tape with Roller Boogie on? I'm thinking about that now. I know I've got a tape with Xanadu on, which was sort of contemporary to it. You know, I don't know if I've got Roller Boogie or not. I hope I have, and I hope I can find it. I kind of want to watch that now. Dominic says, Howard Jones, that would be interesting. I got a big job lot of about 80 tapes or so of mostly radio recordings, I think. What cassettes, Dominic, are we talking about now? Dominic says I may be able to transfer them to CD, possibly. Wow, yeah, tapes are a thing. For those that don't know, and you don't know unless you're Dominic, yesterday Dominic came to the radio studio. By the way, for those of you who are waiting for more episodes of How to Start a Radio Station, there are 2 more episodes coming out. The first one will drop this coming Wednesday at 7 PM UK time, and the next one will drop the following Wednesday at 7 PM UK time. So Dominic came over yesterday to have a look at the radio station, and I roped him in to move some video recorders, because regular viewers will know that I've got what seems to be quite a large collection now. I hadn't realised how many I'd got of U-matic video recorders. Now, U-matic was a Sony thing. It was a Sony creation. It came out in about 1968-69ish, and it involved massive video cassettes. It was the first cassette format of videotape. Previous to that, videotape had always been on spools, reel to reel. But Sony came out with these U-matic cassettes, massive machines to play them in, and Dominic and me basically struggled to move 2 very early U-matic VCRs yesterday. So thanks for the lift with those, Dominic. But they have now gone to the radio studio together with all the other vintage video and audio equipment. At least I thought it was all of it. I've since came home last night and found another U-matic machine at home. So we will at some point do something, do a video or something all about the U-matic machines, because how many is there now? Oh no, there's another machine here as well. Yeah, I think there's 2 still to take over. There's 2 more to take, Dominic. Because there's a JVC one. But at the radio studio now, there's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. I think there's 7 U-matic VT machines at the radio studio now. And there's 2 more here at least, so that's 9 altogether. So we'll do a video all about U-matic and what U-matic was and what it was designed for. It's quite an interesting story. We talked about Techmoan earlier. I have emailed Techmoan on a couple of occasions and went, "Hey, you do stuff about dead formats and things. You need to do something about U-matic video. I've got some machines you can use," and he's never got back to me. So yeah, Matt, wake up. Read your emails. Yeah. Right. What's happening here? Right. Christopher's taken his phone apart. Right. Now it's getting interesting. Right then, Christopher. So, now, see, this is what I was saying about why would Ericsson supply a phone to Pi? But they didn't. They supplied it to Ericsson by the looks of things, because Christopher's taken his phone apart, and there's the middle of the dial blank with the Pi logo on it. And it kind of looks more central now. So maybe that had just slid around a bit in the find the phone. But there's that. So that is, I take it, on the other side of that Pi logo. So if you took that Pi logo off the sort of three-pronged thing, that's what's on the back of it. So that Pi logo has a little nut on the back that's in that photo there. You take that nut off and turn it over, and that's what's on the back. Now I wonder if that is the original dial center for the Ericsson phone. That looks like that would be the original side to me, I would say. Interesting. Very interesting that. So that phone has obviously been messed with at some point in its life. So yeah, that kind of tells you it's an Ericsson N whatever. But yeah, I'm not entirely sure of what's going on there. Yeah, so yeah, it's an Ericsson something or other, let's say. Yeah, not sure what though. Yeah, it's strange. I'm not quite sure what's going on there with that, Christopher. It's a bit of an oddity. Right, I have to fiddle with emails now. It's all going a bit wrong. Right, there. Right, got it, I think. Right. Yeah, it's very strange. Wesley says, did you get the broadband to the radio studio sorted? Not yet, Wesley. They were supposed to put it in Monday of not this week. No, they were supposed to put it in about a fortnight ago. Then they were supposed to put it in, I think it was last Friday, but I just didn't have the time to be there because they wanted to be there for like an entire half a day while they put it in. I just haven't had the time to be there. So they are now coming to install it this coming Friday AM before 1 PM. So hopefully by this time next week the radio studio should have broadband in it. It should have a broadband connection. Then once it's got the broadband connection, we have got to get a host for the radio stream. We have then got to engage a hosting provider for the radio stream, and then we should be good to go, basically. Dominic saw the whole chain yesterday of how the music goes from a computer through the mixer and through compressors and audio processors, and then it goes into another computer that then encodes it to go out over the internet. All that is now kind of in place, not necessarily using the computers that we're going to use, because it's used old computers so far that have been begged, borrowed and stolen from various places. But I want to kind of standardise, because the whole system is going to use about 4 desktop computers eventually, and I kind of want to standardise them and I would like to use computers that have got passive cooling, because they don't make a noise, they don't make any fan noise, and also they use a lot less electricity. And when these computers are going to be on 24/7, and because of the price of electric and stuff these days, I'm trying to keep the costs down as much as I can. So I'm wondering if Raspberry Pis or something similar will be able to do some of this computing. So if we can swap computers over for things like Raspberry Pis, because we've got some computers that are just doing relatively simple tasks, like the one that's encoding the stream and sending it out. It's a relatively simple task. It doesn't need a huge desktop sat there whirring away to do it. So I think probably a Raspberry Pi could do that. So the system is up and running at the moment, but once we've actually got it all connected up and we've got some test transmissions going in, then we'll start thinking about tidying it up by swapping out some of the computers for something a bit quieter or a bit less power hungry, and then that will eventually become the finished system, I hope. So internet going in this coming Friday, fingers crossed, but we'll see. It's down to OpenReach. Dominic says he's glad there's a lift at Plesley Vale. Yes, for getting those video machines in. Otherwise we've had to get them up at least 3 flights of stairs. So, yeah. Yes, that lift is very handy. There's a lot of stuff in that radio studio that wouldn't be there if it wasn't for that lift, let me tell you. Wesley says, is that the hand sign Star Wars or Star Trek? I'm intrigued now. It's Star Trek, Wesley. It's the Vulcan live long and prosper. I think Leonard Nimoy created it, and you'd be amazed the number of people who can't do that. If you all try and do that now, and do that, you'll not do it. Some of you'll get that, and some of you'll get that, and some of you'll get that, but some of you will get that, but not all of you. But there are a lot of people who can't do that. But yeah, it's from the Star Trek movies. I think it first appeared in either Star Trek 1 or Star Trek 2, and Leonard Nimoy did it. Penfold says, I think it was from Trek Wars, Wesley. Yeah, Trek Wars would be a good name for a spoof, wouldn't it? Penfold says, passive cooling, is that when you stand the computer in a bucket of water? Oh, I never thought of that. No, passive cooling is how can I explain it? It's when the computer doesn't have fans, it just like has heat sinks with fins on them inside it. The little thing that runs CNET here is passively cooled, and it's totally silent. The little CNET gizmo that's sat on the windowsill is passively cooled, and when you look inside it, there's like a copper pipe that conducts the heat through the copper into a big aluminium heat sink. So it's a proper computer in a small case, what they call a thin client, but it's got no fans or anything running, so it's totally silent. And if we can use something like that at the radio studio, then that would be brilliant, because obviously in a studio you want it to be quiet, don't you? So that's the idea. Christopher says he was out and about on the trains last week. Very good. A tape train, a steam train, a diesel train. Wesley says, it's not a social faux pas then if I meet a Vulcan. Not if you can do that, Wesley. If you can do that, you're alright. Can you do it with that hand as well? That's what gets people. You do it with that hand, and they manage that, and they say, can you do it left-handed as well? And they go, they get to about there normally. Can you remember 321 that used to be on the TV? Yeah, 321. Can you remember that? Yeah, Ted Rogers. No. I remember thinking that 321 used to be a very glamorous Saturday night TV game show. A massive Saturday night TV game show, 321. And I've seen tapes of it recently, and it was rubbish. It really wasn't. You know, it was a tiny thing done in the studio, and it's not how I remember it at all. I remember it is this huge Saturday night show, and it's actually tiny and like a tiny little studio, and it's not. It just shows how your memory plays tricks on you. But yeah, it's on YouTube. Look on YouTube for Ted Rogers on 321 with Dusty Bin. 321. 321. No. See, I can't do it now. 321. 321. 321. That's it. No, it's that way. 3, 2, 1. Is it? No. Oh, forget it. Anyway. No, I think you do it that way. I think go 3, 2, 1. I think it ends up that way round. No? Yeah. Yeah, I think it ends up 3, 2, 1. It's the way it's supposed to end up. It's a long time ago. You're going to be doing that now, aren't you? Ted Rogers and 321 from Leeds. Now, that should have been the clue. It wasn't actually big and glamorous. The fact it came from Leeds. Sorry, Leeds. Right, where are we? Yeah, Penfold says Ted Rogers and Dusty Bin. Where it says, no, that's a rude V. Yeah, you have to get it the right way around. Yeah, you have to start that way, I think. So you don't do that, because then when you get the V, it's that way. But he didn't used to do a V. He used to do it with his fingers together like that. Is it 3, 2, 1? Like that. But he used to do it really quick, quicker than I can do it. Yeah. You always end up offending people, whichever way you do it, because if you start that way, then your 2 is that way, which is fine, but your 1 is that way, and if you get the wrong finger, you've got a problem again. So it was very dodgy. But I don't think they worried about things like that in those days on Saturday night telly. So, yeah, Ted Rogers and 321. Who can remember that? Sort of. You remember Game for a Laugh as well. Yeah. Right. Okie dokie. Right. I think we've about run our course again for today. It's coming up to 8 o'clock. My pizzas are calling me. Thanks to everybody for taking part in this once again, though. And if you want to get in touch with us during the week, before we are back on, remember, if you've not got the email address already, the way to get in touch with us, initially at least, is through the contact us form on the website, so we don't get a load of spam. It's here, andyshed.coldpress.net, and just click on the thing that says contact us on the little menu, and then you should be able to send me a message, which I can then reply to with a proper email address that you can send photos to and things. Also, of course, we do have the telephone forum, which is here, gpotelephones.proboards.com. That is there if you want to talk all things telephones throughout the week. And if you like what we do here and you fancy supporting us on Patreon, the address for that is this one, patreon.com/AndyShed. That's patreon.com/AndyShed. Right, that is about as far as we go, I think, for this week. Thanks for everybody who has been in the chat and stuff. Um, Penfold says, wasn't Ted Rogers Phil Lynott's father-in-law? I've got no idea. Whereas he said, no, that was Leslie Crowther. I have no idea. What happened to Ted Rogers? I never saw him do anything before 321. I never saw him do anything after 321. What happened to Ted Rogers? I will leave you with that thought this week. I'm going to now go and Google it. But we will be back here around about same time, same place next week, 6:30 for another Andy's Shed Live. Remember, dropping in the week on Wednesday at around about 7 PM UK time, there will be another episode of How to Start a Radio Station. And this time it looks at a very interesting piece of equipment used by radio reporters to get their reports back to the studio over ordinary telephone lines, but sounding better than they would sound on an ordinary telephone line. It's a thing called a scoop reporter. Find out more about it when How to Start a Radio Station returns on Wednesday. But from me for now, have a fantastic week ahead, everybody. And we will catch you soon. Have a good one. Bye for now, folks.